They're among the bravest, the proudest, and the most patriotic.
I love the sea. I just love the excitement.
It's hard to thank Southern Nevada's war veterans for what they've done, their selfless sacrifice to our country and our freedom. Followed by what can be a struggle to adjust from combat to civilian life.
Them not being accepted when they come home, that's heartbreaking.
There's a determination to learn from the past and to offer our heroes the recognition they deserve. 13 Action News salutes our heroes.
Hello and welcome to this Veterans Voice special. I'm Leah Pizzetti.
And I'm Ross DiMattei. Today we honor and celebrate the men and women who put bravery before fear to serve in the United States military.
We're here at the Military Museum of Nevada, just off the Las Vegas Strip, and we want to take the time to honor our heroes. We're going to introduce you to local veterans from our community who I've had the chance to meet through the past year.
They are all incredible in their own ways, and for this first veteran, it seems laughter is the key to his happiness. Not only did he serve in World War II, he also brought home some pretty impressive awards.
Now he's in retirement and he's enjoying the good life.
In a world of bus trips to the grocery store across the street and walkers galore, there's Bob.
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Where's the wife?
Everyone seems to know this retiree.
How's Connie?
And it's impossible to not laugh at his infectious personality.
See, there I got it again. Ding!
While he loves to socialize with his neighbors, he's not one to brag about his service.
Glad I survived, but I don't give it much thought. Honest, I don't.
His life didn't start on such a happy note.
I was 16. I was living on my own, and my parents had died, so I was living basically on the streets.
So he turned to a place that would take him in.
So the guy said, "Oh, that's no problem. We'll take you down here and get the judge to appoint you a guardian," which they did for one day, just to sign me into the Marine Corps.
When he summarizes the highlights of his service, this is what he says.
It wasn't that serious, really.
But the Purple Heart and Silver Star hanging on his wall beg to differ.
His courage and devotion.
So does the description of why he got these awards.
In action against the enemy, Japanese forces on Saipan, Mariana Island, July 8, 1944.
It goes on to say Bob helped rescue a wounded soldier even though he himself had been hit by a hand grenade.
Awarded for actions during World War II, Marine Corps, ranked private first class.
But the Marine says this is the past.
Hi, young lady.
Hi.
And this is his present. The comic relief in a slow-paced world.
I just lived to laugh every day. So all we do is laugh. I don't worry about a thing.
Not his time in the service.
Nothing to worry about.
Now, just a piece of the past.
I'm not going through that anymore. Thank goodness.
His focus is on other things.
Oh, wait a second. I'll go with you.
Or maybe people.
Come on, troublemaker.
Navy pride is rooted in this next family. After decades of service to our country, this Valley veteran is showing the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If
Subtle details on the outside of this house don't reveal what kind of person lives here, this room inside does.
The next ship I was on that one for 11 months, I think.
Calvin Piscetta proudly lists all of the ships he's served on.
USS Manatee, USS Nereus, and USS Barton.
An impressive list, complemented by an equally impressive display of medals.
The Korean Service Medal with 2 Bronze Stars. Number 4 was American Campaign Medal.
A visual reminder of his 30 years of dedication to the U.S. Navy.
Feels proud. I feel very proud of it. Every one of them. Every one of them.
Calvin says he's always been drawn to the ocean. It started with his father.
He used to put out his arms like this here, and we'd hang on his arms. And he was so strong.
His dad also served 30 years in the Navy.
All I seen was, sailors coming in the house and all Navy people coming in the house telling me these wonderful stories, because most of theirs was all peacetime.
That wasn't the case for Calvin. He joined, then World War II broke out, then the Korean War, then Vietnam. In each conflict, Calvin served his country from the water.
I love the sea. I just love the excitement.
These photos show how much Calvin changed over the years.
This is when I was 17. And this is when I was 40 years old, or around 40.
Once a young man, eager to be like his father, then becoming Chief Calvin Pesqueta, a man who not only witnessed, but lived history.
It's just amazing. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Looking at the pictures, he thinks of his dad.
My father would be real proud of me. And there's the two of us. You can't see, it's a very small picture, but it was my dad and there.
Like father, like son, always connected by service and Navy pride.
As you just heard, Calvin and his father are just some of the many who put their lives on the line to protect our freedom. Just like Calvin's father, military members deserve to be laid to rest with honor.
Of course, these funerals are so important, but as you're about to hear, they're also often forgotten. But there are several Southern Nevada groups that are coming together and hosting memorials to show they care.
It's silent as members of various military groups stand and the remains of several veterans are brought forward.
We have 7 veterans. We have 3 from the Air Force and 4 from the Marine Corps.
Then a proper military service begins.
In years gone by, many men and women responding to the call of our nation answered the call given, leaving family, friend, familiar surroundings, people and places loved to serve in a far-off land.
With the solemn sound of taps and a flag folded in their honor, these 7 men are laid to rest.
We ask these things in your name. Amen.
But the people putting on this service never actually knew the veterans who passed.
Today it's the day that we do the services for the indigent and the homeless, those that have no families that we can find.
Volunteers from local military groups put on funerals for veterans who would otherwise have nothing.
It'd be a direct drop. In other words, they come from the funeral home and right straight out to the hole in the ground.
Navy veteran Peggy Randall says typically the chapel at the Veterans Cemetery is empty during these services.
Everything from no one to 5 or 6.
She says they've tried to convince people to attend, getting many different excuses.
And then you get the people that say, I don't know him, why should I go? You should go because he went over there and was willing to risk his life for you. That's why you should go.
So when these volunteers look out, they see a near empty funeral.
Very heart-wrenching when you figure that a man has put in enough time that he's earned a rifle party to fire for him, and there's nobody here. It hurts.
The lack of support isn't stopping them. Most Thursdays, over and over, they put on the same ceremony for the same type of person, a stranger. Carrying the remains outside to be buried with honor, a right these veterans deserve.
We, of course, want to offer our thanks to those groups who do put on those services. It's the Patriot Guard Riders, the Women Veterans of Nevada, and the Southern Nevada Vietnam Veterans of America. And as you saw, they're emotional services.
So powerful, and if you felt a little guilt at home, that is normal. I know I felt guilt while watching that story, but you still have plenty of chances to get out there to those services and thank the veterans who protect us every day. All right, still to come, from heroism to healing. Coming back from combat or retiring from the service is no easy feat.
Yeah, how our Valley veterans are moving through life, finding different forms of therapy. One local vet has faced multiple near-death experiences, but he's turning those close calls into motivation.
So instead of the focus on yoga, we focus more on progress. It's all about the progress within that you're making with yourself.
This is a class for a special type of person.
I micro cue through so that way your mind stays busy and it doesn't go to that dark place like we know that it always does.
Veterans and first responders can come here and find focus.
Notice your center, notice your power.
The leader of the class, Leland Holgate, takes them through both a mental and physical journey.
Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward.
This path is one he's taking as well. The Air Force veteran overcame many milestones in his service.
It was a lot more real in some ways, especially with the brothers that we lost, those that didn't come home with us, or those that came home in a different way.
Leland was a C-130 loadmaster. He was in charge of loading the aircraft and doing missile drops. He remembers being shot at while in the sky over Yugoslavia.
It was probably the scariest thing I'd ever dealt with in my life.
Terrifying moments followed by a life-changing experience when he got home.
Everything is just in the air. You don't even know if you're going to make it out of the situation alive. And the reason that one was so pivotal is just after that we came home. And after coming home on R&R, I suffered a neck injury that left me a quadriplegic.
From one extreme to the next, now paralyzed from the neck down, questioning his future.
Sweating and crying and going through the gut-wrenching thoughts of just not wanting to be anymore, asking people if they would help me end my life. I didn't want to do this. I couldn't do this.
Then a mental shift convinced him to power through.
And something clicked on that second day, and I just told myself, no, this isn't going to be my life. This isn't where I'm going to be. This isn't what I'm meant for.
Physical therapy integrated yoga, and that is what helped him regain his ability to move again. But then more blows continued his way.
I went through many hardships, ups and downs. I became a drug addict. I was addicted to alcohol from all of my PTSD, the combat stress.
And one final devastating hit, losing his father, a fellow veteran who had his own mental struggles.
In 2016, he was one of our 22 plus day suicides. So he couldn't fight past the demons. He couldn't do it anymore.
That moment was the one that challenged Leland to live his life for others, starting this nonprofit to offer healing classes to people like him.
If I was there for other people, I wasn't quite so much in my own head. I wasn't worried about me anymore. It was the biggest wake up I ever got in my life when my dad took his own life.
So now he teaches the mental and physical calming powers of yoga.
You can always show up for you.
Hoping to inspire others to push through the pain.
And allow yourself to just be.
This is his purpose, helping heroes find their focus.
I know that that's why I'm here. That's my mission. After all the horrible things that I went through and saw and did myself, I recognized I only went through those things so that I could teach people this, so that I could teach people the light side of life and teach them just how powerful they are.
A power he had to discover for himself that he's now sharing with others.
Now arms move forward, engage your core.
When we come back, a group of rescue dogs saved 2 lives at once. A young vet shares how his furry friend has brought him back from a dark place.
Now, we know that dogs are man's best friend, but it turns out that relationship goes both directions, and it's all thanks to the work of one local nonprofit.
Yeah, this group pairs dogs with veterans so they can become their service animals, and it creates a bond that can last a lifetime.
Day 1 of training class is going as well as you might expect on the first day of class.
But if you use the verbal command, sit, one time only.
This is the first day of teaching the dogs to be service animals and the owners to be good trainers.
Walk your dogs, just walk them around and just practice having them sit.
All of the participants in the class are combat veterans.
I've got 3 deployments and 2 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan.
And RWB dog tags pairs them with a dog who will help with either mental or physical disabilities.
I'm going to get him to also do med reminder, buddy. And also get him to do med reminders.
Rock Cruz hopes to get mental help from little Kukui.
Yeah, I have a history of PTSD. It's not something that most infantry guys will admit to or talk about because the stigma that comes with it.
This forever friend helping when times get hard.
Dogs don't judge. They don't care whether you're green, blue, purple, orange, stripes, plaid, plain. They don't care.
And the dogs need help too. Most are rescues pulled from the shelters. This bond is the basis of the group.
Which is our motto. It's saving 2 lives at a time. Because we have a really high suicide rate with veterans. And we have a high kill rate for dogs. 2 horrid things.
Volunteer Dina Vandevanter says watching the bond formed between a dog and an owner is unlike any other.
It's humbling. It makes me cry because
unapologetic love is formed.
Lord, I didn't want to cry.
A man and his best friend who might normally be judged find each other.
Them not being accepted when they come home. That's heartbreak.
So the veterans are given a friend with 4 legs.
I always have somebody to watch my back. You know, so in the military we always had a buddy, you know, to watch our back. This is my buddy to watch my back.
What is usually a man's best friend
Good boy.
turns into a man's lifesaver.
You gonna shake? Oh yeah, he shakes.
Up next, a place where your secrets are safe, where local vets can go to release and heal as they transition back to civilian life.
Horses for Heroes. The name speaks for itself. This facility provides riding therapy for vets, first responders, and their families. And as you're about to see, this one group provides therapy with a little bit of horse sense.
It's a place where there's no judgment. The therapists on site will just listen. And when you walk into their office, your secrets will be safe with them.
This horse, Bo, isn't going to tell anybody about our conversation. It's whatever I tell him stays between me and him.
A bond like this is especially important for a person with a background like this.
Spent a lot of time training, and we quickly deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom.
Luis Vega spent 6 years in the Army infantry and was deployed to the Middle East for 10 months.
You got the days when you're like, man, this is a lot. This is a big toll on the body and a big toll on your mind.
Transitioning back to civilian life is hard, so places like this make it easier.
I've seen veterans cry and I wouldn't say break down, but they have that moment and they're just expunging everything, right? That they can't tell their wife, that they can't tell a therapist, and they come out feeling a lot more relieved.
And Horses for Heroes is not just for veterans and first responders.
Say hi, Mom. Say hi, Mom.
Yonel Dorelis is a veteran, but he is sitting back and letting his daughter take the reins.
Me and her mom weren't always easy on it. Plus, her mom was kind of a rider mom.
Family members are also welcome here. Katie remembers growing up with a dad who was gone multiple times a year for months at a time, and the bargain her parents made when they had to move.
I was throwing a fit about it. I was really upset. And that was kind of my parents' bribe for me, was when we get there, I promise we'll let you take horseback riding lessons, because I had been asking for a while. So, 5 minutes after we arrive in town, I'm like, all right, where are the horses at?
These four-legged friends became her comfort when her dad was away.
Not only was it, a sport that I was into and competing and all of those things that kept me busy, the horses themselves really do make you feel better.
Now she has a family of her own, and this is still her way of finding peace.
She hasn't admitted it to me, but I think this is her therapy a little bit too.
So Katie and Luis and anyone else who needs a boost, come here.
They just have this really, almost magical ability to make us feel better.
Silent therapists helping heal wounds for all of our heroes.
Still to come, Semper Fi, a handful of former Marines, is priding themselves on making an impactful return to civilian life.
Plus, from the Air Force to aerospace, one local woman is defying gravity. Hello, and thanks for being with us for this Veterans Voice special. I'm Leah Pizzetti.
And I'm Ross DiMattei. We are here at the Nevada Military Museum, located right off of the Las Vegas Strip.
Today and every day, we work to honor those who have dedicated their lives to protecting our freedom.
This group of former servicemen and women show how they turned their life around for the better. One becoming an MMA fighter, another a chef, and another is helping us get to Mars. From one lifestyle change to another, this fellow Marine hit rock bottom but fought his way to stand back up. Fighting has been a constant theme, from combat to his own personal life after returning home. Now he's fighting in a much more controlled way.
There's a sense of focus in the room. A class full of people with different backgrounds. In this group is Kane Marzola. With every kick and punch, he's fighting.
We're not fighting to die, we're fighting to survive. You know, we're fighting to live, thrive.
He was a junior at Las Vegas High School when he witnessed 9/11 on a classroom TV screen. That moment changed his life.
As soon as I saw that the planes crashing into the buildings, it struck a nerve in me, and that was the day I decided to join the Marine Corps.
The following year, he did just that, joining the most decorated unit in Marine Corps history, deploying within months.
We only got called out when it was time to fight, and we got called out every day, all day.
Combat was a constant. He went on more than 1,000 missions, lost 17 of his fellow Marines, more than half of his unit was awarded a Purple Heart, and that was just his first deployment. He says no Hollywood movie comes close to depicting how bloody and gruesome it was out there in the desert.
We were living in combat outposts. We were getting hit with mortars and rockets all the time. Insurgents trying to, take over the compound. Like it was all out fight.
After 8.5 years of active duty, he got out and hit rock bottom, diagnosed with severe PTSD.
Man, I blew up all the way to 255 pounds, lost. I got out of the Marine Corps, was, just over-medicated, in so much pain I couldn't even get up off the couch, suicidal, at my darkest moment.
His twin brother stepped in, bringing him here to Wand Fight Team and introducing him to cannabis for the first time.
Seen a glimpse of literally accomplishing my childhood dream of becoming a professional MMA fighter, winning titles, being on billboards around Las Vegas. I saw all of that happening in that one little glimpse.
Giving him a new reason to fight, losing 100 pounds and winning 2 MMA titles. He also now owns his own business, Veterans Vitality, providing CBD to veterans and first responders. Finding these outlets has turned a life that was close to ending to a life worth living.
That's the first thing I do when I wake up. So I thank God for giving me another opportunity, and then I try to attack my day. I don't let my day attack me,
With a punch, a kick, fighting for his future.
My grandfather is a Marine, so I can tell you they are a proud bunch. This local Marine definitely fits that stereotype, but the Purple Heart recipient has reason to be proud. You might even be able to catch him at a local watering hole.
It boasts everything a normal bar has to offer.
Hey, do you like cheap beer, but good beer? Come to the Leatherneck.
But the Leatherneck opens their doors even wider to a certain bunch.
If you're a Marine, or actually from any branch, there's going to be a fair amount of talking that we do. But it's all in good fun.
If the bar decorations don't give away the theme, cook Alan Webster will.
Ever since I was a little kid, I'd wanted to be in the infantry. It was like my dream job. So, I chose the Marines based on reputation, of course. If you want to fight, you're going to fight with the best, right?
No surprises.
I know, it's a pretty Marine answer.
He works here.
Did I mention maybe the handsomest cooks in Las Vegas?
As a humble cook.
I don't know if did I touch on that?
Inside the kitchen, food is the focus for the veteran.
You throw out just some badass food, and the look on their faces is just priceless. And once they eat it, and they're just like, man, they're stuffed. They're happy, they're having a good time. It just doesn't get much better.
A little bit of Alan's sizzle,
golden delicious,
mixed with some local flavor, makes for a hearty meal.
We got our buns done locally from Amato's, nice brioche bun.
But the kitchen hasn't always been his home. His dream was the Marines.
Well, I was an infantry Marine. I'm from the East Coast, so I went to Paris Island, where real Marines are made.
He deployed in 2006, going to Iraq, working on census operations.
Kind of looking for the bad guys. That was pretty much our job.
Alan was a radio operator and one day will always stand out.
My squad, the guys that I've been training with the entire time to go out with, they were going out, so I begged my platoon commander to let me go with them. In retrospect, maybe not the best idea.
A single decision that would change the path of his life.
Came around the corner of the house and I heard this pop from my 3 o'clock, and the next thing I know, I'm on my back looking up at the sky. So I'd been hit by a sniper, never saw him, only took one shot. That was kind of the end of that deployment.
27 surgeries in the next 3 years and a titanium rod in his leg now, but he's fine.
They tell me chicks dig scars.
He's a tough Marine with the scars to prove it.
But yes, it looks pretty gnarly.
Getting out in 2011, then finding a new place to pass the time here at the Leatherneck.
I fell in love with this place the first time I ever came in. I mean, it just felt like home.
Making people happy through food.
People like a lot of things.
And while he'll always have a connection with the group he served with overseas,
You don't get that kind of bond unless you're going through hardships with people that are, potentially life-threatening. You won't find that bond anywhere else.
here at the Leatherneck, the connections found are a close second. So he cooks, enjoying his time. Now, searching for the next step.
I already lived my dream. I mean, my dream was becoming, an infantry Marine, so it's kind of it. I mean, now I'm just wherever the road takes me, trying to have a good time in life kind of stuff. I'm not worried about it.
Alan certainly is a character, isn't he?
And he clearly can cook as well. All right, our next veteran, we are highlighting her because she is shooting for the moon. Not only is she defying the odds, she's also defying gravity.
Yeah, it's not every day you meet a woman like Ellie. First, she served our country. Now she's helping explore the universe outside of our planet.
I'll just pretend they're all in their underwear, so it's fine.
At the Aviators ballpark, Ellie Morgan is getting ready to be the center of attention.
I just want her to, young girls, all kinds of people, look up and see that they can do this too.
Senator Jackie Rosen chose Ellie to throw the first pitch because of her hefty resume.
A little nervous, just don't embarrass anyone. Let alone my company or the Air Force or Women's STEM.
Exploration has been in Ellie's blood since she was young.
My initial interest had been in space when I was younger. And then it kind of grew into aviation.
She says in 3rd grade, she won a contest at school. Come up with the best question to ask an astronaut.
My question was, can fish swim in space?
That win launched her goal to reach for the stars.
That early experience really kind of then propelled me into being, more interested in STEM-related activities.
She ended up joining the Air Force, going active duty for 12 years and flying massive C-17 cargo planes around the world for anything from rescue missions to relief missions, which she says was a rewarding job.
It was those times and those experiences that I would always hold on to and I would think back on whenever I was having a really rough day or I was exhausted or I was going to be gone from my family again. And that kind of helped to reframe things for me and just know that it's all worth it in the end if I can help other people and ensure that other people make it home safely to their families from the battlefield. That was really important for me.
Most recently, she's taken on a new adventure. She's now working at a local aerospace company, Bigelow, the first company to put an expandable structure into space.
We're hoping that a lot of this will help define some of the future requirements for future human-rated space habitats.
These outer space homes can hold 4 to 6 people, and Eleanor is helping make that happen.
I do really hope that in many ways that whatever I'm doing, can indirectly help inspire other folks and let them know that, if you can dream it, you can achieve it, and it comes down to what you want to do.
Anything from joining the military to studying aerospace, and even something as small as throwing a first pitch.
Woo! All right. No time like the present.
With the same determined focus she's held for decades, she, no surprise, hit this one out of the park as well. Up next, the Air Force is celebrating a birthday this year. We'll show you the special present a Valley veteran received.
As a way to say thank you to our veterans, a couple of local groups are teaming up to turn those words of thanks into action.
Furniture shopping is no easy task.
Ooh, that one goes up in the back.
So it's best to try everything out. Take a seat.
Bob could go out here pretty soon.
And imagine taking it home.
Oh.
Bob Maxwell is going into it with an open mind.
So maybe the automatic one wouldn't be such a bad choice.
The best part about his shopping adventure,
this may not help my waistline,
is everything he wants to take home is free.
A lot of disabled veterans who have financial challenges, sometimes they could barely afford the place to live in. let alone furnish it.
Andre Haynes is the founder and CEO of the Armed Forces Chamber. In honor of the Air Force's birthday, his group picked a deserving Air Force veteran to gift brand new furniture.
I'm literally in shock. I mean, you guys have great hearts. Thank you for that.
Bob served 4 years in the Air Force from 1971 to 75, just barely escaping Vietnam.
I missed it by 5 days. We were supposed to go, but they canceled our orders 5 days before we were supposed to leave.
After getting out, he struggled with health issues and PTSD, ending up homeless. Then Andre's group stepped in.
It's one thing to tell a veteran, thank you for your service. That's wonderful to do. But sometimes if you could go a step beyond that, if you could go a little bit further and you could do something more, why not?
Helping get Bob back on track.
When you lose your pension and you can't work, the money dries up, and then homelessness hits. And that was a very tough thing to deal with. And Andre was there.
A man who put his life on the line for his country.
I don't want to put my feet on it.
Can now kick his feet up.
Oh.
And relax.
Good night. Oh my God, is this nice.
Living life to the fullest. Two veterans from the greatest generation share their secrets to staying humble and young.
They're called the greatest generation. World War II veterans are people to look up to.
And this World War II veteran has hit many milestones. Not only did he survive being a prisoner of war, he has been living for more than 100 years, and now he is telling us his story. He says age is just a number.
Hi, neighbor, hi, neighbor.
It's not your average birthday party.
While you stay, hi, neighbor, hi.
These performers are serenading a man who is celebrating a big milestone.
What a great day this is to see my friends.
103 years of life for Vincent Shank, a World War II veteran.
He deserves to have a fabulous party and be surrounded by all his friends.
Shank joined the Air Corps after Pearl Harbor, sent to Europe where he was shot down in Sicily and taken as a prisoner of war for 2 years, then gifted with a long and fulfilling life.
And I'm happy to say that I lived this long so I can see all the stuff I have seen.
He may have done a few laps around the century mark, but this veteran is now doing laps around the rest of us.
He's in fantastic shape. He doesn't even use a cane. He goes to his exercise class every day at his independent senior living home where he lives. And he doesn't even take the elevator. He takes the stairs.
So what's next for him? His daughter says 104.
We're already planning for his next birthday next year.
For Vincent,
I don't have any big plans.
simply keep enjoying a long and happy life.
Just hope that things keep going along as well as they have for me lately.
So you just heard how Vincent keeps his mind sharp. This next veteran uses candy.
And we're not talking about sugar, more of a game. This vet is living a happy life thanks to an app.
If Frank Costa's life was a game,
You had the three of them.
it would probably be Candy Crush. In this game, there are obstacles.
This was got me stumped.
Frank's life has had plenty of those too.
I don't like talking about it. I just, when I start talking about the Army, I'm just tearful yet. Too many memories.
The World War II veteran was drafted in 1943 to the Army and says he went to 28 islands during his service, then Japan. Memories that even 75 years later still hurt.
You see a lot of your buddies getting killed or wounded, and that sticks with you. In fact, I'm tearing up.
But just like the game,
The bomb just went off. I lost it. Have to start it all over again.
you have to power through and sometimes switch paths.
I like the poker game better.
Those other paths might lead you to happiness, a wife of 70 years and a family of boys.
2 sons, 2 grandsons, 3 grandsons, great-grandsons. And then you got the real small one, or 1 great-great-grandson.
Frank's busy life is starting to relax now. He's living the retired life.
I'm 101.
He doesn't feel that old though.
I feel like I'm in my 50s. If it wasn't for my knees, I'd be playing baseball or something.
His body might be aging, but his brain is still young, thanks partly to this.
Keeps your mind going. You got to be sharp or you miss it.
Crushing candy just might be the secret.
I'll be on here for an hour or two before I know it. Time goes so fast.
Still, one thing is clear.
I won that one.
He's won big at life. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break. And every Wednesday here on Channel 13, we feature a local veteran in our community. If you have a veteran who you think should be featured, please let us know. You can go ahead and email veteransvoice@ktnv.com.
And we want to thank you so much for watching our 13 Action News Veterans Voice special. To quote President Ronald Reagan, there are some who have forgotten why we have a military. It's not to promote war, it is to be prepared for peace. The men and women we honored are only a fraction of the millions that dedicate their lives to serve our country.
Veterans are a huge part of every community, and this is just one small way for us to say thank you.
Thank you so much for watching tonight.